From Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and Switzerland, we welcome you to Money Masters. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Palavita, along with the co-host, Kim Calhoun.
Hi,
Kim, say hi.
guys.
All right, we have today a very special guest from across the pond into the, I guess, the very interesting country of Switzerland. Anne Liebgott, welcome to the show, Anne.
Welcome,
Thank
Ann.
you. Pleasure to
Okay,
be
Anne.
here.
Yeah, and tell us, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
Okay, I was born in Vancouver, Canada,
Mhm.
and lived in Vancouver and in Toronto and outside Toronto, and then moved down to Chicago and
Yeah.
outside of Chicago, and then moved on to Switzerland.
Well, how'd you happen to get across the pond to Switzerland? I mean, Chicago and Canada, that's over on this side of the pond. How'd you happen to get on the other side of the pond?
Actually, I got over on the other side of the pond through my father, who was transferred to Europe from Allstate Insurance Company. And I had a last year of high school before going back to the States to university, but I fell in love with the country
Mhm.
and I decided not to go back to the US. And I've
Oh,
been in Switzerland ever since.
oh, so you're an expat then, eh? As they would say in Canada. I'm speaking Canadian for you, eh?
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes. I still like
Okay.
Subway sandwiches though.
Yeah, but Switzerland, from what I understand, has the highest standard of living in the world, so it's probably not a bad place to live, would you say? Eh?
No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's
Right.
fantastic. One of the reasons that it's so great is that because really it's in the heart of Europe, it's in the center of Europe.
Right.
And in a matter of a couple of hours, you can be in France, you can be in Germany, you can be in Italy, where
Yeah.
the languages are different, the culture is different, and that's just really nice. And being in the heart of Europe, it
Mhm.
is the cleanest, the safest,
Yeah.
maybe even
Yeah.
kind of like the most expensive
Right.
country, but it's worthwhile.
And what city in Switzerland do you happen to reside at?
I live just outside of Zurich.
Oh, Zurich. Okay, great. All right. Now we'll get to the meat of the program, which everybody's interested in, especially in the United States. Swiss wealth management. What is Swiss wealth management? What do you do?
Well, Swiss wealth management for US clients, I
Mhm.
think there's a couple of main points which makes it different, let's say, than the US. One is you're geographically diversified. That means you are actually holding your funds in a Swiss bank. So you're not having all your funds within one financial system. That's one
Mhm.
point. Another
Right.
point is you have, of course, the Swiss wealth management expertise, especially when that's involving international and global diversification. We're 6 hours ahead from the East Coast and 9 hours ahead from the West Coast. So a Swiss wealth manager will actually get a head start on the markets on any given day.
Right. Okay. So the thing is, what your company's designed to do is, let's say we have clients in the United States that are interested in doing international diversification. You're able to actually work with U.S. clients. Would that be correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Swiss wealth managers have registered with the SEC in the United States to be
Right.
able to provide compliant solutions to US taxpayers.
Right. Right. Okay. So the thing is, they're registered now. Do they? Since I'm not that familiar with this, do they invest in mutual funds, or do they have their own individual accounts that you work with? How do you work with these clients in the United States in terms of the
Okay,
investment?
well, yeah, the SEC registered investment advisors in Switzerland, they come in all shapes and sizes. And of course, they all have their own investment management, let's say, style and so on. Of
Right.
course, investments are not placed actually in mutual funds because that would make them PFIC investments. That would mean they
Okay.
would be, treated that onerous tax treatment.
Right.
They don't
Right.
do that. In the most cases, it's direct equities in companies around the world.
Oh,
And
really?
that
Okay.
includes US equities, by the way.
Okay.
Global
You,
diversification doesn't exclude US investments.
okay. So you do U.S., but you also do your advisors, managers, they do U.S. plus international investments. Would
Yes,
that be
yes.
correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Now the thing is, a lot of the financial managers I work with have minimums. They go, well, and I'm seeing them. Some say, well, it'll take 250,000. Some are 3 million. Some are 5 million. In other words, they have a minimum number that they'll work with, and if they don't achieve that number, they're just not going to talk to you. I mean, it's serious. So, does your company have minimums in terms of clients that you would actually work with?
Well, there are minimums per se.
Mhm.
They are all listed in the SEC Part 2 brochures of the investment advisors. And there's some that take lower amounts, let's say 250,000 as well. And there are
Right.
some that really don't take less than 3 million, like you mentioned.
Right. Now, what about financial advisors over here? A lot of the people I've run into are financial advisors. I work with close to 1,200 financial advisors. Are the financial advisors able to work with you and their clients in terms of your platform?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Basically, what the platform does, it builds a bridge between the US client and the Swiss service provider, the Swiss investment manager. It makes it easy, access easy.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of break this down maybe just a little bit more. What is the biggest, just the most biggest advantage for the U.S. or an American to do something like this? The most biggest advantage.
Well, I'd have to share that up again between the geographical diversification, meaning holding assets outside of the US financial system, meaning you also get direct access to funds abroad without having to go over the financial system. And the second one really is a different perspective. A Swiss investment manager will have a different perspective of international investing than a US advisor in most cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if it sounds like repetitive, but the viewers, a lot of us, we've never engaged in that, or sometimes I just give my money to my financial advisor and just say, go for it. And so this is very interesting to me and very inspiring to me to maybe go out and try it myself.
Well, like I said, access is really easy. And I think that's one of the biggest points as well, is that it's not a big, huge, complicated process to get established. You don't even have to travel to Switzerland to do so. You can do it from the comfort of your home. Of course, there is a know your client process, and there's account opening forms to be filled out and so on. But your Swiss advisor will do the hand holding and will actually do it all.
So you work both worlds, the US and in Switzerland and probably some other areas. How complicated would something like this be for me with my tax filing here in the US if I'm doing something abroad?
Okay, well, of course, if you do have a foreign financial account, you have to report it on the FBAR form, and you also have to report it on the form 8938, I think it is, which is part of the 1040 tax return. You get all the information you need from the banks to be able to do so. It's a very clear-cut process. It just needs to be done in a timely manner. And there you'll also have your Swiss wealth advisor who will make sure it's done properly.
Okay.
By the way, that part's very helpful.
Opened here, right? There has to be a special account opened here to transfer the funds back and forth?
No, not a special account, just from your regular bank account, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the FBAR is very important. If you don't follow the FBAR, you get hung, So,
we don't want that.
Do the FBAR.
right. Do the FBAR. Otherwise, the thing is, over here, they lynch you for not filing the FBARs, at least all the stuff that I've read. But okay, so the thing is, can pension funds invest in your platform? So the thing is,
that's your thing, Nick.
I know it's my thing. That's the reason I'm asking. In other words, the thing is, let's imagine there's
like 401ks and so on,
or yeah, 401ks and things like that, qualified plan money. Let's say,
additional paperwork involved, but they can. Of course, trusts can be the account holders, retirement funds. What do they call them? Independent retirement accounts.
Yeah, individual retirement accounts. IRAs can invest.
Yes, yeah, they can also invest in Switzerland.
Right. Okay. So the thing is, you're able to actually have all those funds. Now, another important thing for our clients: how do we know the money is safe over there?
Well, of course, when you're having a custodian account in Switzerland, you're having it with one of the most famous, most stable, best capitalized banks. You're not having your funds with some no-name bank somewhere. So that's basically the guarantee that you have. And we do have, actually, in Switzerland, we don't have quite the FDIC kind of coverage of things, but we do have a depositor protection plan as well in place.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. So
explain how deposit protection works.
Well, it's actually very easy, is that the Swiss government provides a guarantee for the first 100,000 that is invested should a bank go bankrupt and you have cash on hand. If you don't have cash on hand, of course, you are in a segregated account and you're not part of the bank's balance sheet.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, very, very, very important, because there was some guy, I think his name was Will Rogers. He said, I'm not so concerned about the return on my principal, but the return of my principal.
Yeah, I heard
that. So the thing is, these people want to make sure, hey, yeah, if the money goes overseas, we don't want it lost in some little island that, on high tide, you can't even see it. So the thing is,
well, that's also one of the reasons why Switzerland continues to be the global leader in cross-border wealth management, because it is not an island place somewhere,
True. Yeah.
1291. I mean, Switzerland has been here since 1291. That's quite a long time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've been doing this since 1291. That's quite some time. Okay. Long time.
Well, what's fabulous to understand is that here you are from the U.S. and you found it to be such a sound, awesome program that you went there. And I mean, so that says a lot about the banking system and the financial systems that are over there in Switzerland. I mean, you hear about it when you watch TV or see the movies, but to actually physically speak with someone who actually works in it. But you went from the U.S. to there. You're bridging that gap. So you saw something that sparked your interest over there.
Well, like I said, it is a niche market. Of course, it's not for everybody.
Right.
And I just think it gives a peace of mind. I mean, if you know Switzerland and you know how stable the country is politically and economically, Switzerland is a neutral country. We're not involved in any wars or skirmishes anywhere.
Right.
It's an international country. We have, the United Nations is in Geneva, and a bunch of other humanitarian organizations are around. So it's not like Switzerland is this tiny little place in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's been here for a long time, well established in the international community, and there is no reason not to feel that your assets are safe in Switzerland.
Right. So Anne, if somebody needed to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you over in Switzerland on the other side of the pond?
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's actually very easy as well. I have a website. It's called americanswelcome.swiss.
Right. Okay.
And if you go on there, you'll see me in the contact part. You can just get in contact me with like that. And I'm happy to work together with American clients to help them meet up with their Swiss SEC registered investment advisor of choice.
Right.
So that they can begin to establish we call it the Swiss nest egg.
Oh, the Swiss nest egg, right. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yes, right. Well, it's good to have diversification. I mean, there's a lot of our clients, they love to diversify, and Switzerland, of course, it has a very good reputation in money management. Okay, so we're running out of time. Is there
just
anything?
one more question.
Okay. Oh, you come with that another question. Just
I think we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but kind of inspire the viewers a little bit. What did you do in your education to take you there? Because what you're doing it looks like so much fun, and somebody out there might want to do this.
Right.
Okay, well, like I said, my parents are both originally from Denmark, so I've always been international, and I've always been cross-border. And I spent many summer vacations in Europe, in Switzerland, in Denmark, and Sweden, and I even spent vacations in Mexico. And I've always been around, traveling around and going places. So for me, it was actually kind of clear growing up that I would be doing something that's abroad.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So why Switzerland? Like I said, I ended up coming here because of my father at the time, and I ended up staying. And at that time as well, coming from the United States was kind of a little bit exotic. It was like very, very interesting. It wasn't like it is today where there's, everyone's traveling, everyone's so global and traveling around all over the place. It was kind of exotic. So I was very welcomed here in Switzerland. And that's where I also got my title from when I say Americans welcome Switzerland, because they actually are very welcome.
Okay, that's great.
What kind of education, just so that the viewers know, what kind of education was that you got?
I have a marketing, communication and business development background.
Okay.
But I've been working in the financial industry forever. And so I'm very well versed in the wealth management side of the equation as well.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you, Ann. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Ann, for being on Money Masters, and we'd like to thank our viewers for watching our Swiss management show. And like I said, today getting across the pond isn't very hard. You can do it through the internet, and of course, you can learn more about our shows on IBM TV. So thank you for coming, and we will see you next time.